Welcome back to another episode of the Emerald Squadron Aviation podcast, where we delve into the joys of aviation, the essence of leadership, and the journey of self-improvement. I'm Monty, your host, a dedicated flight instructor and former airborne ranger. Today, we're focusing on pattern work, a crucial aspect of flight training. The theme of today's flights was pattern work, a fundamental aspect of training that every pilot must master. Both pilots I work with today are in the pre-solo stage of their training, which is an exciting and critical period in their aviation journey. Flight number 1 was an eager, high-speed, low-drag pilot, and he showed up prepared with his paper flight plan, which was a clear indication of his dedication and attention to detail. We began our session on the ground, dedicating a significant portion of time to discussing his calculations. This step is crucial as it lays the foundation for a safe and efficient flight. We reviewed the weather conditions, which included checking METARs and TAFs to understand the current and forecasted conditions. Additionally, we examined NOTAMs, or Notices to Air Missions, to ensure we were aware of any temporary changes or hazards that could affect our flight. His readiness and thoroughness were commendable, reflecting the mindset every pilot should strive to embody. We then moved on to the pre-flight inspection of the aircraft, a procedure that can never be rushed or taken lightly. The pre-flight inspection is a systematic process where we check the aircraft from nose to tail, ensuring every component is in proper working order. We began with the exterior walk-around, inspecting the control surfaces for any signs of wear or damage, checking the fuel by draining a small sample from each tank to look for contaminants, and ensuring the tires were properly inflated and free of cracks or cuts. During our inspection, we decided to refuel the aircraft. This decision isn't taken lightly, as adding fuel directly affects the aircraft's weight and balance. We discussed how additional fuel would impact our takeoff weight and center of gravity, and I guided him through the process of recalculating these parameters. Weight and balance calculations are vital for safe flight operations. An improperly balanced aircraft can lead to control issues and affect performance, especially during critical phases like takeoff and landing. After completing our calculations and ensuring they were within acceptable limits, we proceeded to refuel the aircraft. This provided an excellent teaching moment to discuss the different types of aviation fuel, their properties, and the importance of ensuring the correct type of fuel is used. We also discussed the procedure for refueling, including grounding the aircraft to prevent static electricity buildup, which could lead to a fire hazard. Once we were topped off, we reviewed the engine startup procedure. This step is crucial as it sets the tone for the rest of the flight. We followed the checklist methodically, ensuring each step was completed accurately. This included checking the fuel selector, mix control, throttle position, and engaging the master switch and fuel pump. We also verified that all circuit breakers were in and that the avionics master switch was off before engaging the starter. Before startup, we flipped to the engine fire during startup checklist so that the most relevant EP was fresh in our minds. This systematic approach helps prevent any missed steps, which could lead to potential issues once airborne. With the engine running smoothly, we taxied to the runway. During this time, we discussed the importance of situational awareness and maintaining communication with ground control. Taxiing might seem straightforward, but it requires constant vigilance to ensure we follow the correct taxi route, avoid obstacles, and maintain a safe distance from other aircraft. We also reviewed the procedure for a run-up check, which involves checking the engine's performance by running it at a higher power setting while the aircraft is stationary. This step helps identify any potential issues before takeoff. We then went over the before takeoff checklist, a critical step to ensure everything is set up for a safe departure. This checklist includes verifying that the flaps are set correctly, the mix is set for conditions, and the transponder is set to the correct code, and that we have received our takeoff clearance from the tower. We also reviewed our takeoff briefing, which includes discussing the takeoff roll, initial climb, and what actions we would take in the event of an engine failure. Before rolling onto the runway, we conduct a final review of what would happen if we lost engine power during takeoff or the initial climb. This is a crucial discussion that every pilot must internalize. In the event of an engine failure immediately after takeoff, decision-making must be swift and decisive. We discussed options such as landing straight ahead if altitude is insufficient for a turn back, or making a slight turn to a safe landing area if possible. These scenarios must be considered and mentally rehearsed to ensure quick and effective action if the situation arises. With everything set, we received our clearance from the tower and taxied onto the runway. The moment of takeoff is always exciting, a combination of anticipation and focus. As we applied full power, I reminded my student to keep a close eye on the engine instruments and airspeed indicator. Ensuring the engine is producing the expected power and the aircraft is accelerating properly is crucial. As we lift off, our focus transitions to executing a smooth climb out. This pre-flight preparation, while detailed and methodical, sets the foundation for a successful and safe flight. It's an opportunity to instill good habits and reinforce the importance of thoroughness and attention to detail. Each step, from planning and inspection to the final review and takeoff, is a building block in the journey to becoming a skilled and confident pilot. For flight number 1, his readiness and meticulous preparation were a testament to his dedication to mastering the art and science of flying. And as his instructor, seeing his progress and commitment is incredibly rewarding. Our flight path took us straight out over the bay, where we were greeted with a pair of whales swimming in formation. That was pretty neat. It's moments like these that remind us of the unique perspective we have as pilots, soaring above the world and witnessing nature from a vantage point very few get to experience. I pointed out the whales to my student, emphasizing the importance of maintaining situational awareness while appreciating the beauty around us. As we approached Arlington, we tuned to the AWOS, or the Automated Weather Observing System, to get the latest weather update and active runway information. We discussed the merits of landing on runway 29, which was the preferred runway due to the prevailing winds, versus runway 34, which was currently in use. Over the radio, we heard another aircraft announce their intention to enter the pattern for runway 29, while other aircraft were already in the pattern for 34. This presented an excellent real-world scenario to discuss decision-making and adaptability in the air. We elected to go out to the northwest and enter on the 45 for the left downwind for runway 34. I explained to my student that entering the traffic pattern at a 45-degree angle to the downwind leg is standard procedure, providing a clear view of the runway and any traffic in the pattern. Using ADS-B and the old Mark I eyeball, we kept a vigilant eye out for other aircraft. This is crucial in maintaining situational awareness and ensuring safe operations in a busy traffic pattern. Once established in the pattern, we began our touch-and-go exercises. Pattern work is an integral part of flight training, honing skills in a controlled environment. My student handled the radios, making position reports and communicating with other aircraft in the pattern. This was a great opportunity for him to practice radio communication skills, which are vital for ensuring clear and concise information exchange in busy airspace. We completed 3 trips in the pattern, each one providing a chance to refine different aspects of the approach and landing. The first one was a bit rough, with a slightly bounced touchdown, but he quickly corrected and executed a safe go-around. The second landing was smoother, demonstrating improved control and confidence. By the third landing, he had significantly improved, achieving a near-perfect touchdown. I was impressed with his progress, especially considering it had been a while since his last flight. After completing our pattern work, we departed out to the west and flew over my student's house for a few pictures. This is always a fun and rewarding part of the flight, allowing pilots to connect with their surroundings from the air. Seeing familiar landmarks from a new perspective can be incredibly motivating and reinforces the joy of flying. After taking some photos, we returned to Payne. The airspace was pretty congested, which provided an opportunity to discuss and practice maintaining safe separation and situational awareness. I was really happy that we had ADS-B on board to help us keep an eye out for traffic. ADS-B provides real-time traffic information, significantly enhancing safety, especially in busy airspace. We entered on the downwind for 3-4 and completed a standard landing. After landing, we taxied back and prepared for our second flight. For the second flight, we decided to stay local to maximize our practice time within the allotted time slot. We were cleared for a right-hand traffic pattern and executed a series of 12 landings. The goal was to cram as much practice as possible into the available time, focusing on consistency and improvement. During this flight, I introduced a new technique to help my student improve his landing accuracy. I drew a runway on my kneeboard and used arrows and mini airplanes to note how he performed on each landing. This visual aid helped us track performance and identify patterns or areas needing improvement. My student had consistently struggled with maintaining alignment with the runway. He tended to crab into the wind, which often resulted in landing slightly off-center. To address this, we focused on using the rudder to keep the landing gear aligned with the motion of the aircraft and using ailerons and wings to counter crosswinds. We discussed the concept of a crosswind correction, emphasizing the importance of aligning the aircraft with the runway centerline. During one of the landings, I introduced the technique of wagging the tail, making small controlled rudder movements on final approach to wake his legs up and get them in the game. This helped my student become more mindful of the rudder's role in correcting drift and staying centered on the runway. We also extended an arm straight from the center of our chest out to the windshield to visually demonstrate where the centerline should be. This physical reference helped him better visualize the desired alignment and adjust his approach accordingly. After incorporating these techniques, his landings showed a noticeable improvement. He was also able to land closer to the centerline with more consistency, demonstrating a better understanding of crosswind correction and alignment. As we continued our pattern work, I reminded him of the importance of maintaining a proper traffic pattern altitude and making smooth, coordinated turns. Each circuit in the pattern provided a chance to reinforce these fundamental skills. The repetition and focused practice were invaluable, allowing him to build muscle memory and confidence in his abilities. Each flight is an opportunity for growth, learning, and developing the skills necessary to become a proficient and safe pilot. My student's dedication and progress were evident, and I was proud of the strides he'd made during our session. The key takeaway from this flight is the importance of practice, situational awareness, and adaptability. Every flight presents unique challenges and learning opportunities. By staying focused, prepared, and open to feedback, pilots can continually improve their skills and confidence. This flight was a testament to the value of thorough preparation, effective communication, and hands-on practice in mastering the art of flying. Let's dive a little deeper into the traffic pattern. Understanding and mastering the traffic pattern is essential for every pilot as it organizes the flow of aircraft around an airport, preventing collisions and maintaining orderly air traffic. The traffic pattern, often visualized as a rectangle around the runway, is designed to provide a standardized method for entering and exiting the airport environment. It consists of several legs: upwind, crosswind, downwind, base, and final. Each leg serves a specific purpose and requires precise execution to ensure a smooth and safe operation. We start with the upwind leg, which begins immediately after takeoff. As the aircraft lifts off the runway, it climbs out on the upwind leg, which is aligned with the departure runway. This leg is crucial for gaining altitude and establishing a positive rate of climb. A strong headwind is beneficial during this phase as it reduces ground speed and minimizes the distance required for liftoff. Maintaining a steady climb rate and proper airspeed is essential to ensure a safe departure. After reaching the appropriate altitude, typically around 700 feet AGL, the pilot transitions to the crosswind leg. This involves making a 90-degree turn to the left or right, depending on the designated traffic pattern direction. The crosswind leg serves to position the aircraft perpendicular to the runway, providing a clear view of the airport environment and any potential traffic. It's important to maintain situational awareness during this turn, keeping an eye out for other aircraft that might be entering or exiting the pattern. Next, we turn to downwind, where the aircraft flies parallel to the runway, but in the opposite direction of landing. This leg is usually flown at 1,000 feet AGL, a standard pattern altitude that ensures separation from departing and arriving aircraft. On the downwind leg, pilots can perform various checks and prepare for the landing sequence. Key tasks including setting the power to a cruise setting, verifying the mix and fuel settings, and beginning the descent checklist. Pilots also make radio calls to announce their position and intentions, providing important information to other aircraft in the vicinity. As the aircraft reaches a point of being the landing zone or runway threshold, it's time to start the landing sequence. Pilots typically reduce power and begin descending, maintaining a steady rate of descent. This phase is critical for setting up a stable approach and ensuring a smooth transition to the landing. One useful technique is to establish a flow pattern from left to right. I like to go carb heat, power, mix, flaps, pitch from 90, and 500 feet per minute rate of descent. The next leg is the base leg, which involves making another 90-degree turn toward the runway. This turn positions the aircraft perpendicular to the final approach, creating a rectangular pattern around the runway. During the base leg, pilots continue to descend and configure the aircraft for landing. This might include deploying additional flaps, adjusting the power setting, and ensuring the landing gear is down if flying a retractable gear aircraft. It's crucial to maintain a proper descent rate and airspeed, setting up for a smooth and controlled final approach. Finally, we turn to final, where the aircraft aligns with the runway centerline and prepares for landing. This is a critical phase where precision and control are paramount. Pilots must manage their descent rate, airspeed, and alignment with the runway. There are two primary methods for correcting for wind on final: crabbing and slipping. Crabbing involves pointing the nose into the wind while maintaining good coordination. This method is more comfortable for passengers and provides a coordinated approach. Alternatively, slipping involves banking the wings into the wind and using opposite rudder to maintain runway alignment. While this method can be a little uncomfortable, it keeps the landing gear pointed straight down the runway, which is crucial for a safe touchdown. During the final approach, pilots must also be prepared for potential go-arounds. If the approach is unstable or if there is an obstruction on the runway, executing a go-around is a safe and prudent decision. This involves applying full power, retracting the flaps to a takeoff setting, and climbing out to re-enter the traffic pattern for another landing attempt. Practicing go-arounds is essential as it ensures pilots are ready to respond to unexpected situations and maintain safety. One of the best training techniques for mastering the traffic pattern is to practice low approaches or slow flight over the runway. This involves flying at a low altitude with partial flaps, maintaining a controlled airspeed and alignment with the runway without actually touching down. This method helps pilots develop a feel for the aircraft's behavior at slower airspeeds and refine their control inputs. It also reinforces the importance of proper alignment and approach techniques. Throughout the pattern, communication is key. Pilots must make regular radio calls to announce their position and intentions, ensuring other aircraft in the area are aware of their movements. These calls typically involve reporting positions such as downwind, base, and final, along with any pertinent information such as touch-and-go intentions or full-stop landings. Clear and concise communication helps maintain situational awareness and prevents misunderstandings, which could lead to conflict. In summary, mastering the traffic pattern is a fundamental skill for any pilot. It involves a series of precise maneuvers, coordinated control inputs, and effective communication. Each leg of the pattern serves a specific purpose, contributing to the overall safety and efficiency of airport operations. By practicing and refining these techniques, pilots develop the confidence and proficiency needed to handle various scenarios, from calm winds to challenging crosswinds. Understanding the traffic pattern also underscores the importance of adaptability and continuous learning in aviation. Every flight presents unique challenges, and staying prepared, vigilant, and ready to adjust as needed ensures a safe and enjoyable flying experience. The traffic pattern is not just a series of turns and descents. It's a structured framework that helps pilots navigate the complexities of the airport environment with precision and confidence. By embracing this foundational aspect of flight training, pilots lay the groundwork for a lifetime of safe and successful flying. One effective method I use for training landings is executing low approaches or slow flight over the runway. With 10 degrees of flaps, we can maintain speed and get close to the runway without touching down. This helps pilots focus on maintaining alignment and setting centerline control using ailerons and rudder. It's an excellent way to teach new pilots how to land. After our pattern work and multiple touch-and-go landings, we taxied back to the hangar feeling pretty good about what we'd accomplished. The post-flight phase is an integral part of flight training, offering a chance to review, analyze, and consolidate the lessons learned during the flight. Once we reach the hangar, we shut down the aircraft. This process involves a series of methodical steps ensuring the engine cools down properly and the electrical systems are safely powered off. We followed our shutdown checklist, which included setting the parking brake, leaning the mix to idle cutoff, turning off the mags, and securing the aircraft with chocks, pool noodles, and a battery minder. With the aircraft securely parked and powered down, we proceeded to conduct a post-flight inspection. This is an important step to identify any potential issues or wear and tear that might have occurred during the flight. We wiped the plane down. Don't forget to wipe your plane down. We wiped the plane down, removing bugs and grime, and staging the seats and seatbelts so that they look presentable for the next crew. A thorough post-flight inspection helps maintain the aircraft's integrity and readiness for the next flight, ensuring safety and reliability. Next, we parked ourselves at the table in the hangar to conduct our debriefing session. The debrief is a critical component of the learning process, allowing us to review the flight in detail, discussing what went well and identifying areas that need improvement. I began by asking my student to recap the flight from start to finish, encouraging him to recall as many details as possible. This active recall process is a powerful learning tool, reinforcing memory retention and helping to internalize the experiences. We started with the pre-flight preparation, discussing the thoroughness of the pre-flight inspection and the importance of accurate weight and balance calculations. I praised him for his attention to detail and readiness, highlighting how these qualities contribute to safe and effective flight operations. We then moved on to the takeoff phase, reviewing the execution of the takeoff roll, the smooth transition into the climb, and the situational awareness demonstrated during initial departure. As we delved into pattern work, we reviewed each landing in detail, using the sketches we made during the flight. We analyzed the approach paths, discussing the alignment with the runway, and evaluated the effectiveness of the crosswind correction techniques. My student had shown significant improvement in maintaining alignment and using the rudder effectively, which we both acknowledged as a major accomplishment. I asked him to identify 3 highlights from the flight, moments that stood out as particularly rewarding or memorable. He mentioned the sight of the whales during our departure over the bay, the improvement of his landing accuracy, and the sense of achievement from executing 12 successful touch-and-goes. Highlighting positive experiences helps build confidence and reinforces the joy of flying. We then discussed one key takeaway from the flight, something he felt he learned or improved upon significantly. He noted that mastering the use of the rudder to maintain alignment with the runway was a major breakthrough. This insight was valuable as it demonstrated his growing understanding of aircraft control and situational awareness. Moving forward, we made a plan for the next flight. We identified specific areas to focus on, such as refining crosswind landing techniques, practicing emergency procedures, and enhancing communication skills with ATC. Setting clear goals for the next flight provides direction and purpose, ensuring continued progress and development. An essential part of the debrief is the gratitude exercise. I asked my student what he was grateful for today. He reflected on the privilege of flying, the beauty of the aerial views, and the support and guidance he received during the flight. Expressing gratitude fosters a positive mindset and appreciation for the unique experiences aviation offers. I shared my own gratitude as well. I expressed how grateful I was for the opportunity to teach and guide aspiring pilots, witnessing their growth and passion for flying. I also acknowledged the joy of sharing such memorable experiences, such as spotting whales from the air, which add a special dimension to flight training. Finally, we discussed the importance of continuous learning and staying curious. Aviation is a field where there is always more to learn and new skills to master. Emphasizing a growth mindset encourages ongoing improvement and adaptability, essential qualities for any pilot. A significant part of our debrief was dedicated to Stoic philosophy, which provides valuable insights into handling the challenges and unpredictability of flying. Stoicism, an ancient Greek school of philosophy, teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. This philosophy is particularly relevant in aviation, where maintaining composure and making rational decisions under pressure are crucial. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which emphasizes focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. In the context of our flight, we discussed how this principle applies to handling unexpected events, such as sudden weather changes or mechanical issues. By focusing on our responses and actions, preparation, training, and decision-making, we can navigate these challenges more effectively. Accepting what we cannot control, like the behavior of other pilots or the whims of weather, helps us maintain a calm and collected mindset. We also explored the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, which involves envisioning potential problems and rehearsing responses. This practice aligns closely with aviation training, where we simulate emergency scenarios and practice responses. By mentally preparing for engine failures, unexpected turbulence, or ATC communication failures, pilots build resilience and confidence, reducing anxiety and enhancing performance during real emergencies. The post-flight debrief concluded with a sense of accomplishment and a clear plan for future training. My student left with a deeper understanding of his strengths and areas for improvement, motivated to continue his journey towards solo flight and beyond. The debrief not only reinforced the lessons learned during the flight, but also strengthened his confidence and enthusiasm for flying. As an instructor, the post-flight phase is one of the most rewarding parts of the job. It provides a platform to celebrate successes, address challenges, and foster a culture of continuous learning and improvement. Seeing my students progress, gain confidence, and develop a genuine love for aviation is incredibly fulfilling. The post-flight analysis is more than just a review. It's a pivotal part of the learning cycle. By reflecting on experiences, celebrating achievements, and setting goals for the future, we create a roadmap for success. Each flight, each debriefing, and each moment of reflection brings us just a little bit closer to the ultimate goal of becoming skilled, confident, and safe pilots. This comprehensive approach to flight training ensures that every lesson is internalized, every experience is valued, and every pilot is equipped with the knowledge and mindset needed for a lifetime of flying. If you're listening to this, I'd like to express my gratitude to you for allowing me to be a part of your aviation journey. So now I turn the question on to you. What are you grateful for? My name is Monty. I'm a pilot in CFI, and if you're listening to this, you are the Squadron.